Well, my favorite thing about being a teacher is seeing the smile on my students' faces when they succeed in achieving their goals and aims. That gives me a lot of joy. And that is my favorite thing about being a teacher, seeing that smile on my students' faces when they achieve their goals. And the most challenging thing about teaching is, I'll say, meeting a new student for the very first time, and their level is zero, like A1. They are like really basic, and it's difficult to start communication at that point. And it's usually frustrating for both the teacher and the students at times. But as time goes on, it always gets better. So, like, that's the biggest challenge, meeting an A1 student for the very first time. Think about challenging about a new language. Well, most challenging thing about learning a new language is the frustration you feel when you cannot get a hang of it. And sometimes you need to be very patient and practicing as much as possible over and over again, without which it will become really, really frustrating and difficult for you to learn a new language. Yeah. Can you show a time? Time when I made a mistake with a student. I've had so many students, it's a bit difficult to know when I might have made a mistake with a student. Of course, as teachers, we all make mistakes from every now and then, so it's a bit difficult for me to pinpoint any one particular time I made a mistake with a student. I might have asked a wrong question, maybe a culturally sensitive question, and yeah, it's a bit difficult for me to remember a particular time when I made a mistake with a student. My perspective on error correction. I believe in delayed error correction, which means I believe that I correct my students maybe at the end rather than always jumping in and interrupting them whenever they are talking, because that drains the students' confidence each time you jump in to correct them. So it depends on the level of mistake they make. If there is a bad grammatical mistake, then sometimes I step in to make a correction immediately. But generally, I believe in using the delayed correction method. And what would you do if the student seems nervous or reluctant to talk? Whoa. Well, I always try, because I've worked with so many young learners, so I always try to start by finding something they connect with, something that makes them smile, something that they are interested in. It could be football, it could be their hobby, it could be their favorite toy, it could be a favorite movie, and then we start from there. That breaks the ice, that helps you to build rapport with a student who is nervous and reluctant to talk. The key is to gain their trust and build rapport from there. And is company culture important to you? Yeah, of course, company culture is very, very important. You need to be able to stick to the norms and practices of a company, because as a tutor working for that company, you represent that company, and therefore the company's culture is very important, and you need to portray that culture at all times while representing that company. Okay. Read the company manifesto, select 3 values that resonate with you the most. Okay. Let's see. Kindness, inclusivity. Okay, so I'll start with kindness. It's very important to be kind. There's nothing bad about being kind. You gain a lot by being kind to people. Whether you know them or not, it's always important to be kind. And I will go with flexibility. As a teacher, you cannot be inflexible, no matter what. If you are inflexible, then you cannot be a teacher. A teacher is supposed to be flexible at all times, be ready to bend and try to fit the needs of your students and try to adapt your lessons to fit the needs of your students as much as possible. And of course, the last one will be honest feedback. If you try to flatter a student's development and you lie to them and you tell them you're doing good here when they are not, at the end of the day, they will realize that you are just blowing smoke up their butts and they have not improved as much as your feedback was claiming they were. And they are going to leave your lessons at the end of a period more disenchanted, disgruntled than they came in. So you have to give honest feedback to both your students and also to the company you are working for. Yeah, all right.